Hi everyone, glad that you could be with me and watch this particular feed. Now this is not going live, which is what we tend to do on many occasions. This is a recording and I hope that you share this on Facebook and on YouTube or whatever social media platform you're using. I wish to have a conversation with you about an issue which arose today in terms of an article that I read from the ABC News channel. And this is particularly important to all of us to acknowledge. When the department fails to investigate or fails to appropriately investigate the well-being of any child, then we must need to take note of exactly what is happening here. And our job is to be able to raise that to you so that you're aware of what is happening out in the community. And in this particular case, it's in relation to 3 children where the cases have gone before the coroner's court in Victoria because these 3 children died, and unnecessarily, I would suggest, had died because the department in Victoria was so slack, lackadaisical and dysfunctional that they weren't able to recognise that these kids were at harm in the first place. And some of these stories are pretty horrific. So I do apologise for the nature of some of these stories, but they are realistic stories about what's happening in relation to some of our kids out there in the communities. And we need to take note that the department fails in so many areas. Now, the department would argue they can't win, no matter what they do, that they're going to be held accountable. Yep, and they are. So there are lots of parents who have their kids removed from them unnecessarily, and we deal a lot with those. And then there are those parents who simply needed to have their kids removed for the child's safety. And some of the decisions that these parents have made, which put their children at risk, certainly needs to be analysed. And I wonder what social workers make decisions that allow children to remain in harmful or risky situations, and where some of those situations may mean that the child dies. There are 3 of these cases right here, and I wish to go through them with you. So the first one is a child. So it starts off, Victoria Child Protection Services is being placed under the spotlight of a coronial inquest examining the deaths of 3 murdered children and a toddler who died of blunt force trauma. So these kids died or were assaulted or attacked and consequently died of those injuries. Now, we'll just go through each one and we'll analyse as to whether or not someone needs to be accountable for what has happened in relation to these children. I will argue that they should be, because none of these children should have died. None of them. However, the department was so negligent that they were so negligent that they almost, I was going to say allowed, because they didn't allow, but they certainly could have prevented the deaths of these children if they weren't so negligent in their tasks. So child 1 was 2.5 years when she died. Prior to the death, there had been 6 notifications made to CPS about her family. They included concerns about physical discipline by her parents, the mother's parenting capacity, and the children's exposure to family violence. Now, my experience is there are so many parents out there whose children are removed because of those reasons. And there's lots of parents out there who have dealt with those problems and should have their children returned to them. But in this case, for some reason, the department didn't do what they normally do to so many of the parents we deal with. At some point, the mother notified CPS of her relationship with a new partner who had a criminal history and extensive criminal history, in fact, including family violence. CPS closed its involvement in July 2015 after notifying the mother's engagement with recommended support services. Again, this is a problem with Child Protection Services where they don't follow up on anything. A parent can say, these are the things that I'm doing, and that's fine. A lot of parents do that, and that's fine. I accept that. but there's a lot of parents who just don't. They stop doing whatever it is they need to be doing once the department is no longer involved. And clearly that was the case. The cause of death was found to be a result of internal blood loss associated with blunt force trauma. So the kid was attacked, 2.5-year-old kid was attacked by this man, I think. The woman's partner was arrested and tried for murder, but was acquitted in 2016. Can someone explain to me how that happens? How a child dies and the person who probably was responsible for the death gets off. I don't even know how that happened. It's just, I'm bewildered, absolutely bewildered that the person should get off. And I don't know the case, so I guess I can't speak about it in any great detail. Child 2 reports were made to Child Protection when the child is called Child 2. Mother was pregnant with him. The first concerned her ability to provide adequate care for him, while the second report alleged she was a drug user, had a gambling addiction and was homeless. Probably good reasons to investigate anyway. A month before he was born, a social worker contacted CPS and arranged a pre-birth meeting. Sounds appropriate to me. By the time Child 2 was born in December 2015, the CPS had neither met with the mother, so they planned to have this meeting, but clearly for whatever reason didn't, nor undertaken a pre-birth meeting with her and determined future steps. So the department, for whatever reason, chose not to get involved at all. Now, how negligent is that? Extremely negligent. However, this is what happened. Nevertheless, CPS closed the case as the mother was willing to engage with the program, and the original concerns were recorded as being unsubstantiated. So clearly they didn't follow through appropriately, and the previous notifications were dismissed. Days later, there were 2 more notifications made about the mother, which were assessed as indicating a significant and immediate risk of harm to Child 2. The same month, his mother began a relationship with a new man. He was subject to 2 community correction orders. So this is the second relationship the second one we've talked about, where someone's gone into another relationship with someone that had a criminal history. In June, after smoking methamphetamines, the mother left the child with her new partner. He later called her to say her son was not breathing. The 2-year-old died at just 6 months of age. The mother's partner was later charged and found guilty on this occasion. What a relief, of murder. He was sentenced to 34 years in prison, non-parole period of 27 years, and rightfully so, I would suggest. But there again, an unnecessary death. Had the department done their job, this should never have happened. Child 3 was born in 2001. The reports to CPS in relation to her and her siblings date back to that year. They related to various concerns, including parental drug use, mental health issues, family violence, homelessness and sexual abuse. In 2012, she was removed from the mother's care and did not have contact with her again until 2016. At the time of her death, she was still in foster care. Her mother, meanwhile, had started and ended a relationship with another man. During their relationship, 2 reports were made to Victoria Police about family violence, while additional documents reveal he began making threats to her mother in public. The last known threat was in February 2017 when he told a friend he would burn her. Wow, this is a seriously violent dude. In February 2017, Child 3 were to stay with her mother and cease contact with her carer. So they decided at this point the child must have been 15, 16. I'm trying to work out the maths. Child 3 died age 15, there we go, along with her mother and her mother's new partner. So the department knew and yet relinquished responsibility, probably because of the child's age, no longer prepared to investigate what was happening to the mother, and the child was still in the care of the department. So the department are again on Child 3 responsible for this child's death. Child 4's mother struggled with mental health and mental health issues and episodes of psychosis following the birth of her children. She had multiple inpatient psychiatric admissions in 2013 to 2016. During these episodes, she had delusional and paranoid thoughts, including that her family was conspiring to kill her. She also became aggressive. Between 2013 and mid-May 2017, 5 reports were made to CPS ahead of Child 4's death. All reports, aside from the first, were closed at the intake phase. And that may be because the department was too lazy to follow them up or didn't have the resources to do so. In June 2017, when she was caring for her 4 children, the mother contacted her husband, telling him she thought Child 4 was dead and that she had stabbed him. In 2018, the mother was sentenced to 30-month community correction order with conditions about her mental assessment. The inquest, which began on Monday, will run for 2 weeks and resume again. So here we've got 4 cases where children who were under the care of the minister on one, where the department knew about the behaviour of the mother and the persons that the mother was associating with, and chose to do nothing about protecting these kids, and they all died. So the question we're asking is, what was the department doing that caused them not to notice that these families were in trouble, that the mothers were in trouble in these cases, and that the fathers or the stepfathers or the other partners that these people had accumulated were a threat to these children? As a result of their negligence, they're not even observing what was happening, their disinterest in what was happening to these families, these children died. The department never seems to be held accountable for any of these actions, and it's horrific, it's wrong, and it's something that we need to change. So help us change it. So this is an important issue for all of us to discuss and all of us to consider, that there are children who die because of neglect of the department that's supposed to be protecting them and keeping them safe. It's criminal. It really is. Let us know what you think. Give us some comments below, and if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to us. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves and be safe.